He had a malamed to teach his children. And whenever he used to get a letter from his father, he didn't know how to read, he didn't know anything, so he asked the malamed to read a letter for him. And the malamed read the letter, explained the letter, and through that, he heard the letter. Then once it came a letter, that the father passed away. A letter from the family that the father passed away. So the malamed read it, like he reads every time the letter. And when the endorsement heard it, he fainted on the spot. And the people were standing around. They couldn't understand what's the malamed. He's the one. He's the Chochem, and he's the one that understands everything. He has the Chochem in Vedas. He's the real Chabadnik. Gornish bleibt kalt. And the endorsement, the simple person, the kafri, he fainted. His emotion was. So they couldn't understand what's going on over here. The Chochem is nothing, and the simple person says, Scheite! Es ist sein Tate, nicht mein Tate. So, Elchonon, what I was saying, means that when we want to get involved, you first have to know everything is starting with me. Elekai, Zeh Keli. When everything starts with me, and then through that, it can go further. There's sometimes it's Eirus, Maidlamato, like that's Tzias Mitzrayim, that's Nisan. Sometimes that it starts with what you hear Sipurim, Big Chassidim, Molek Chassidim, and how they were Eved Hashem, and from there we carry it down. But sometimes, in order for us to be able to carry it down, in order for us to be able to connect, it has to start off as Mein Tat, Mein Rebbe. Especially when we're Farbrengen over here, Gimmel Tammuz, it's mein Rebbe. If there's no Agoshes in mein Rebbe, and what will the Rebbe from me? What does the Rebbe want from me? What am I doing about this fact of Gimmel Tammuz? As a mein Rebbe, so then nothing is going to happen. There'll be another Farbrengen. Everybody will feel good, give himself a pat on the back that I fulfilled my obligation from Chassidus. Darf Farbrengen, Gimmel Tammuz. We have to do something. So we sit in Farbrengen. We hear Sipurim. We hear Moifsim. We hear this and that. I give myself a pat on the back that I fulfilled my obligation as a chassid, and I can go home to sleep, and I can feel good about myself and feel good about going on in life. That's. Excuse me if I'm talking too low. So. Just talking about my nefesh abahami, so which I tell you. So that's. I don't mean anybody here. I don't mean to insult anybody over here. I don't know you. You don't know me. So, but I'm just dealing facts of how the nefesh abahami works. Yeah, everybody wants to be a chassid. It's all part of my resume. I'm a chassid. I'm a chassid Chabad. I'm a chassid this. Gimmel Tammuz have to do something about it. So, what am I doing? I darf kommen zu Farbrengen, I darf sagen L'chaim, I darf verbeißen, I darf singen Anigen, I feel gain a tencel. It could be. That's and the more lebedik it is, the more pat on the back I can give myself. I became a real chassid of the Rebbe. Is it Elchonon? It's a tak Elchonon. And the Rebbe was a mechadish, did many revolutions. We grew up, right? When we grew up in the 50s and the 60s. So, it was the revolutions that the Rebbe made in the world, bringing out in Poel Mamash, America is not different. And the different mifzoim, it wasn't the official mifzoim that came later in the later years, but it was everybody should be mashpia on 10 people to close their stores on Shabbos, those kind of mifzoim. To go Chazar Chassidus in the bottom midrashim, etc., etc. That was in the beginning. So we grew up, the real Chassidim, the Moiser Nefesh Chassidim, the people that was real Mesiras Nefesh and that are really given over. So the heroes at that time was the Yidden in Russia. They had Mesiras Nefesh, Poel Mamash, sent to Siberia. They were executed. They were Moiser Nefesh not only for themselves but also for their families. They put their kids into danger. That could happen, Taka. That some kids were taken away from their homes and put into orphanages. This famous story of the 10 kids that were taken out, that they helped them escape from those orphanages. And basically, you had to leave your family, you had to run away because the KGB shouldn't catch you, the KGB shouldn't imprison you, because of your hafotas hayadus and what you were working to make to keep the chdorim, keep the dos. Those were, wow, they reached the epitome of what being given over to the rotzen of the Rebbe, doing what the Rebbe is, that you put everything aside, everything that is connected with you, everything that's personal with you, everything that's worth something with you, everything that your whole life surrounds around, etc. I mean, we worked, we bring parnasa to the house, everything, the family, that is the direct extension of every single individual, right? And so there wasn't only Mesiras Nefesh for themselves, put their lives in danger, but their whole family was put into danger. And the whole family was going to lose their livelihood. Like, I don't have to tell you, there's thousands of books already printed, all these things. Then came the Rebbe and made a revolution. And when it first came out, it blew my mind. I mean, how could such a thing be? The Rebbe says that wasn't the ultimate Mesiras Nefesh. That's my Mefatet Tetzaveh. That wasn't the ultimate Mesiras Nefesh. And the proof to that is that when these people who lived 10 years, 20 years, 30 years with total Mesiras Nefesh, to the full extent of Mesiras Nefesh, when they came to where they didn't have to have the Mesiras Nefesh, they came to America or to England or to Australia or whatever it was, so we didn't see that Mesiras Nefesh anymore. And everything started becoming regular. Where is the real Mesiras Nefesh? Amerikaner Boitzeklach. Amerikaner Boitzeklach, that you don't see the big dargers, you don't see the high dargers. But it bothers him that he's in Golas. It bothers him that there's another Yid in Golas. It bothers him that there's a Yid that's not learning Chassidus, which will bring the Gula. He says that's a higher darga of Mesiras Nefesh. Why? Because the first darga is a Yid nicht will and nicht erkennt sein Aufgerissen von Eberschen. That's the Etzem Neshama. He doesn't want and he can't be separated from the Eibusher. So when you have a KGB that's telling you you're not allowed to teach your son Torah, you have a KGB that's telling you you're not allowed to keep Shabbos, or you can't keep kashrus, or whatever it is, you can't have a sheikhet. So it's negated to you, and the kids say yadus. You know that without that, how am I going to be a Yid? So you have Mesiras Nefesh, which is also a darga. Well, what percentage of the Yidden in Russia were able to take a stand strong and have that Mesiras Nefesh? And it was only a few hundred people, or maybe a few thousand people. I don't know. I didn't count. Whatever it was. I mean, it's admirable that you saw that the Etzem Nefesh that can be upgraded from the Eibusher took them over and directed their lives. But what happens with the Koiches HaGluyim? What happens in a regular situation? When I don't have a Nisoyin in front of me and nothing is going to tear me away from Yiddishkeit, and I have my Kriyas Itim L'Torah, which is very important, and I can daven with a minyan every day, which is very important, and I can send my children to a yeshiva where they'll learn Nigla and Chassidus, which is very important, Fine, everything is fine, everything is good. Nothing else to do. Are you still in Golos? The kurs is not mehr bekoil. The davening is epis. Tanya steht, whatever amount of time you have to daven. And it was an hour and a half. The hour and a half was cut down to an hour. It's cut down to 45 minutes. cut down to a half an hour. Rahman al-Islam, how you see it. So it's you can't. I don't know. I know I'm a slow reader. I can't even say the words. I have to literally skip every second, third word. But everything is fine. What's the problem? I'm eating kosher. I'm eating glatt kosher. I'm having a serious nefesh for the tuition, which the yeshiva is charged, but I want my kids to go to the yeshiva. So everything is glatt kosher. So when this bothers somebody, the Rebbe says, this bothers me in Golis. And before that I see that, who am I? What am I? I'm going to be mashpia. I'm going to make the shul daven a little bit slower, 10 minutes slower, 5, so I can say the words properly. Get my pat on the tish. We're Lubavitchers. Davening is once upon a time. I'll tell you, when I was in Kotel, so the Rosh Kotel over there was the anicle of the Avnei Nezer. See, one spoke his heart out. He said, he spoke to me, I don't know why he spoke to me, whatever. He said, once upon a time, he says, what he heard from his father was he was anicle in the Avnei Nezer, with Sachet Shavigez. He said, it was among Chassidim, it was known, like, you see a Yid, a Lamden, of a Chassidish Yid, even though he's a big Lamden of a Chassidish Yid, probably a Lubavitch, probably a Chabadnik. See a Yid that's davening takes him an hour and a half, davening takes him 2 hours, probably a Lubavitch. It was the aristocrat, they were the aristocrats of Chassidus. That's what they were called, the aristocrats of Chassidus. Yeah, not everybody could follow, and you had the tzaddik ben also Yichia, Yichia Ali Yechaya. It's, but they were known that a Chassidish Yid was daven, was learned, was had a serious nefesh, probably a Chabadnik, probably a Lubavitch. He said, what happened to Lubavitch today? They're worse than the Rumenische Yidden. The Rumenische, those of all the Polish Chassidim, the Rumenische, they were the most, the tzaddik ben Osa Yichia, they were Peir and Poshet Yidden, this, didn't see anything. Said, what happened? He asked me, he didn't know what's going on today. Yeah, you can point out to these Yechidim, that Yechidim, but we're talking about the masses, that there should be a Yediyah. Where is that Yediyah supposed to come from? I can't fix the whole world. I'm a little person. I'm a nothing. And that's what everybody says. It's not my responsibility. I have to take care of myself. If everybody would realize for himself that I am that if I start davening milah b'milah, if I start having a kriyas to learn up a little bit of chassidus before that, if I start together with the Moedani, start thinking, what can I do today that the Rebbe will be proud? That this is what the Rebbe would want. I know I'm a nothing. I know I'm a little bit. What influence do I have? Who am I? Who's going to listen to me? Who's going to look at me? Nobody's looking at me. I'm a nothing. You do your thing. What comes out of that is not my responsibility. The Rebbe said that many times. We have to do what we could do. And if we would realize that over here we are supposed to be the dugme chaya of what Chassidus is all about, and what Chassidus can accomplish, in the relationship between me and the Eibishter, in the relationship between me and another Yid, in the relationship between me and how I look at the world. So if there would be a little bit of a lekenu, kechenu, chiyuseinu, the Rebbe is living in me, the Rebbe is pushing me, the Rebbe is driving me, the Rebbe is telling me, is standing on top of me. Lekim nitzov alov. If the lekim nitzov alov and the Rebbe only wants to bring down to the meidoah, to the knowledge, to the of every single chodesh, what the Eibusher is standing of in Beichen Kloyes Ulevim, Oivte Karoi. And that is what's going to bring the Gula. And it bothers him that they were still in Golas, even though so much was done and a lot was done, and we're not mevatel anything that was done, and we're not mevatel anything, but still, we're still in the bit of Golas. And that bothers me. And the Rebbe uses the Lashon, not only it bothers me, but it causes a Sabrach. That's when we come to real Mesiras Nefesh. Okay, before I get too sharp, let me say l'chaim. Let's sing a nigun, a veilige nigun. Before you were singing up slow, whatever it is. I can bring enough atzvus. You don't have to add to this. Just make it a little bit veilig over here, and l'chaim. That's the truth is that this revolutionary statement in the Maim of Atat Tzaveh is not a total new thing. The Rebbe said it already many years before. And this is repeated in many, many, many different sichas in the world. In the Kuntas in Anash Tzeirei Chassidus, the Rebbe starts off in the union of Chassidus. Many things were said. It counts over there 4 things. One is a Chassid does that the Baal Shem Tov, Yidden were in the matzav of his alphas, and Chassidus wakes up Yid from his state of his alphas. To wake up. You know, what's his alphas? His alphas is, I'm not margish, I don't feel anything. I'm just lying there. I'm just going along with life. Like, let's be honest with ourselves. We're going on, I get up in the morning, I have my schedule, I might have a kviyas and chassidus, I might have a regular meeting that I go to. Terrific things. And then after davening, I might even have another kviyas and learning, basic knesset, basic medrash. Then go parnosa, and I give my to tzedakah. We live our lives, and everything is good. No tightness. I'm doing everything perfect, exactly the way what's demanded. I don't know of anything else. But my friends, sorry, that's his alphas. You're in a mode. You're like a robot. You're just going, and you're doing. You're doing terrific things. Chas v'shalom, don't get me wrong. I'm not being mevatel ki hu zeh. If you get up in the morning, you don't sleep, and you go to Shir Chassidus, and then you go to daven with the minyan, and then you have another kviyas itim afterward. According to the Weltische Musik, you're tzaddik. You're great. You're very good. But why did I say it's this alphas? Because it's just every day is just repeating itself, and not realizing there's a new day, and what's my revolution today over yesterday, and that the Eibush is given chayas, and the Eibush is mechaya, and something is demanded. So, but I'm in a mode, and I have my habits, I have my customs, and I'm doing everything right. But that might still be a state of selfless. Do I really feel my connection with it? You know, there's a joke that they say about that somebody that I don't like to call them misnagid. There's no misnagid nowadays, whatever it is, but they used to call them misnagid. It's just like it says by an apikoros. Nobody, Friedrich Rebbe said, not everybody can be an apikoros. In order to be an apikoros, you have to first know everything. What you're denying. That's when you have the right to call yourself an apikoros. You're stam amoritz. You're stam apikoros. How do you come to be an apikoros? Same thing with misnagid. And misnagid is the pshat that he knows what he's being menagid. If he doesn't know what he's being menagid, he doesn't know what chassidus is about, he doesn't know what that is about, he doesn't know anything. He's just, I don't like chassidim. That's not a misnagid. It's not a typish. That's not a misnagid. But I'm all excited to a real misnagid. So there was this misnagid that came to, I don't know, he came to a chassid, whatever it is, and he complained that he had a modern dream that he dreamt about the Eibishter. Dreamt about the Eibishter. So he told me, the Gemara says, what person thinks about during the daytime, that's what you dream about at night. So maybe you're thinking about the Eibishter during the day, and that's why you dreamt about the Eibishter. He said, what are you talking about? I get up in the morning, I have my shir Gemara for 2-3 hours. And then I go to daven. And then after davening, I have my shir in this. And then I have another activity over there after a chabur, chadish or whatever it is that each one says is pilpul. And then I have to go to another activity. Where do I have time to think about the Eibishter? That's it's impossible. We're thinking. And the answer is that. In other words, that you can go through all kinds of modes. Am I realizing b'shas I get up without learning chassidus and carrying down the chassidus into a connection with the Eibishter? When I'm davening, I'm saying Baruch Ato Havaya, talking to the Eibishter, and that when I stand in front of Esther, I have Yeshivas with the Eibishter. Yeshivas computer, just like you're going into Yeshivas. Ka'av de kamimore, the Ishtachavoy is Ishtachavoy, so it's Yeshivas with the Rebbe, with the Eibishter. Sorry. Same thing like the Chiddush with the Rebbe. Are we awake, or is it just a habit? Because also the habits happen automatically. Everything is just done automatically. So the first thing that Chassidus does, it brings a regesh aleki, it brings a chayis aleki, it brings up what am I doing? to think into what I'm doing. To think that when I'm davening, I'm saying, Baruch Ato Havaya, L'keinu Melech Olam, B'chulu. When I'm learning Torah, it's like it says in Tanya, Yichud Shein D'Gmosa Neim Seklach, Achmosa V'Ritzeinu Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and even if I'm dealing with in a sugi of Nigla, this is Ritzeinu Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And I'm being ma'achid, I'm having yichud, I'm taking this into my seichel, trying to understand, and standing with the klolim of Torah. And that's what happens when I'm learning Torah. And therefore there has to be a chayis when I'm learning Torah, and it can't be dry, and it has to be an involvement, and have an opportunity, and I want to understand more, I want to be misachid more. When I'm taking my kids to school, is it hechrech, or is it I'm being megadol my kids the Torah Meisim Torah. A mitzvah that Eivishter gave me, which is Tafsa v'Chibur. Why was it Chabad? And that it shouldn't be Chas v'Sholom Zera Levatola. You take a kid and you raise him like a shegitz. Zera Levatola. What's the nafkamina Zera Levatola this way, Zera Levatola that way? What? You take a kid and you mechanech him up at derech haTorah, derech haChassidus. That's what the purpose of the kid is. God v'Torah chuf ma'asim tovim. Otherwise, what is it? Happens with the chayes, with the geschmack, with the brand. And when I can go ahead and be mekayim the mitzvah, the gufa, more with them with my shliach, go over with my kids and show him the geschmack and learning a pasuk chumash or a mishnah or a couple lines of gemara, and showing him the chayes that I have and the simcha that I have that we're working together. That's when there's a chayes eliki over there. Something is working. Something is moving. And the first thing that Chassidus came is to wake us up from this is alphus, that nothing should be just out of habit or just because my neighbor does it or just because this is what's demanded in the society I live in. That's his alphus. If you're just going with it, just mitzvahs, ma'anoshim, and umodo, just because of habit, that's his alphus. That's his name. And the first thing that the Rebbe says is to wake up from that is alphus. That's the first thing. Then the Rebbe says, L'shanas Torah midosav. Not l'shanas midosav hativim, to change the bad habits of kas, gaiva, this, that. For that you can learn Musaf. You don't need Chassidus for that. That you can learn Musaf. L'shanas Torah midosav, like it's explained that Avraham Avinu, his midah was chesed, but he used the chesed only for the purpose that chesed has to be used, to bring people to a recognition that there's an Eibishter in the world. And when the minute that he couldn't use the chesed for that purpose, and then he showed an achzorius, a toughness, that he forced them, he scared them. That's the shan that I don't do just because that's my nature, because this is what I like to do, but I do it because I know I have a mission from the Eibishter himself of what I have to accomplish over here in this world. And the same thing, and then oh, I'm sorry, I skipped. And then it's that the chassid does the fnim short that since he knows that when I'm doing this action, so there's a tzafsa v'chibur with the Eibishter. There's a chibur with the Eibishter. There's a connection with the Eibishter. So he doesn't just do p'ti yotzei. He's getting the most precious treasure in the world. The whole purpose on the face of the shamash is great. So whichever way I can do it better is ma tov and ma noy. And then also that we should get an understanding in Elikus. Not only the tzad nefesh of the kiyas that it has a mashiach to Elikus, but even nefesh of Am should get an understanding of Elikus and come to a realization how Elikus is the only real reality that exists. Those four things. Those are the first four things that the Rebbe starts off. But then the Rebbe goes on, the whole Sikha, explain that is not, these are only protim, and it has to be an Inyan Kloli, an Inyan which brings out the very essence of what Chassidus is. And he says this is only outcomes of Chassidus. But what real Chassidus is, it's the Yechidish of Torah. It's the essence of Torah. And the Rebbe explains over there, there's Pshat, there's Revesh, there's Rus, there's Soid, all the different targets. And then which is the Nefesh Ruach Neshama, Chaya, there's the Chiddush of Torah, that's Chassidus. The very essence of Torah. And the Rebbe brings out over there, that's the whole nafkaminus. And now the Rebbe asked a simple question. If that's what Chassidus is, so why is it that the Rebbeim said the other four things? Why did he say the other four things? Let him go straight to the point and say, Chassidus, in Anash Torah's Chassidus, is bring out the very essence of Torah, what Torah is all about. He said, because the only way that you know you're grasping the Chiddush of a Torah, that you're taking Chassidus the way Chassidus is supposed to be taken, is when it expresses itself in the Koiches HaGluyim, in Machshava, Dibur, Maisa. When it expresses itself in the way you do mitzvahs, when it expresses itself in the way your reaction is, when you have a chayes, the first four things, that when it comes out into that, in the koiches hachitzonim, the koiches hagluyim, when it comes out in the revealed actions of the person, that's when you know that you're really connected with the Yechidus of the Torah. Because Yechidus has to permeate every single aspect. And until it permeates even your exterior behavior in machshava, dibur, ma'aseh, in the way you approach mitzvahs, in the way you do everything, so then you person could philosophize from today to tomorrow, and he's not touching anything. A person could have a dos. When do you know that you touched and you connected with the real concept of chassidus? So basically, it's the same thing. It could be the biggest mask in chassidus. You have the biggest havona. You know Samach Vov Bal Peh. You know Ein Beis. Even deeper. And you're writing Papulim Chassidus and everything, and you have a gewaltige Asog in Chassidus. Are you touching Taket Chassidus? When do you know that you're touching the Chassidus? What's the measurement stick that you're touching Chassidus? When it expresses itself in the Lifnei Meshuras Adin, when it expresses itself that you have a chayes, that you're awake, you're not asleep, you're not just doing things mitzad habit, but there's a chayes in the hours of soul, there's a chayes in your approach. And so basically, this is the same concept, what the Rebbe says over here. When do you know that you have taket etzem haneshama? So yes, there is mesiras nefesh. Nicht ich will, nicht kann sein abgewiesen. I can't be separated from the Eibishter. I can't separate myself from the title chosid, which is basically the same thing. I can't separate myself. So therefore, if I do certain things, I know for sure without this, I can't call myself a chosid. Just if I do certain things, I know without that, I can't call myself a yid. So that's nicht ich will, nicht kann sein abgewiesen von Eibishter. But what's with the koiches hagluyim? What's with the regular behavior? What's with the average day behavior? What's with the regular approach? When it comes out and expresses itself in the koiches hagluyim, that it bothers me that we're still in Golos. That it bothers me that there's a yid left that's still in Golos. That it bothers me that my neighbor that doesn't know. That it bothers me that the shul that I daven. I'm not proud. I don't know if I'd be proud to have. If the Rebbe will be proud when they'll see this davening. Yes, there might be a yid over there, like it says in Tanya, Perek Lamed, a yid that Elchonon is a tinik shenishvo. He never grew up. He never learned chassidus, etc., etc. And he comes to shul and dressed like who knows what, and maybe even has a couple of tattoos, and he puts on film quickly and davens over there in 5-10 minutes. Yechidus Nefesh. That's why it's a Gavela, because that's who he is. That's the Yeshiva Kronas. That's the culture of Kalim that over there that it says you have to be a Shval Ruach. By him, Taka, the Yechidus Nefesh is made, because without the Yechidus Nefesh, he wouldn't be here. He'd be someplace in some nightclub, whatever it is. But we asked that we're zeicher to learn Chassidus, and we're zeicher to have learned it in Chatzminim, and we're zeicher to have seen videos of the Rebbe, and those that are older that were Farbrengen of the Rebbe, and those that are older that were even zeicher to Yeshivas by the Rebbe. So is this that? Is this what the Rebbe wanted? So it bothers me. If it bothers me, I do something about it. So it starts with me. But I can't be happy just with starting with me. I need Nafshi Yitzalti. That's not what the Rebbe taught us. So I have to try to get a chavrusa. And 2 chavrusas make 4 chavrusas. And 4 chavrusas make 8 chavrusas, etc., etc. The whole Avira could change. Does it really bother us? Okay, yes, there's nice slogans. Everybody, we want Mashiach now. And there's a lot of songs, and we sing and we dance. We want Mashiach now. Everything is right. Everything, in the actions, everything is doing. When we sing we want Mashiach now, does anybody really honestly think, what do I have to change in my house? What do I have to change in my house? Here, over here. If I really want Mashiach now. What did I do today to bring Mashiach one step closer, except for those things that I have a habit? Let's be honest. Let's stop being fools. We are crying. It's already so many years. It's Gimmel Tammuz. Right? Why is nothing changing? Did anybody think for 5 minutes, how much is the Rebbe crying? Why am I not with you? Why aren't you living with me? Mazar b'chaim hafu b'chaim, that's the first step. Then we go to the next step. But this is what the Maimer Atas Tzaveh Be'etzim says. The fact that I'm going to sit and Farbrengen for 2 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours, sing mashke, sing a niggin, Rebbe, I need you, and we're going to do a mamash, and we're going to v'chuli. But then I go to sleep, and I wake up in the morning. Did anything change in the Moedani? Did anything change in the Moedani? Did something change in the Birchas HaShachar? Did something change in something? If I need the Rebbe, so the Rebbe told us how many Rebbe, do something about it. Wake up. The first step is to wake up from this alphos. That's the first thing that Chassidus accomplished. If we shouldn't be in a massive of his alphos. This is where the Golus is getting darker. This alphos is becoming stronger and stronger. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Everybody's doing gewaldige things and terrific things, and there's a whole bunch of revolutions going on. Don't get me wrong, I'm not minimizing what's happening. But you have to wake up. If we see what's happening, and we see what the capabilities of what could happen, das geht mit der Brenn, mit der Chayes, mit der Sturm. And that storm has to start within myself, within my family, within my neighborhood, within my shul. When we're davening in shul, when we have a kriyas eating, we have a shir, it's a shtibel where you have 100 mispalim, and to the shir you have 15, 20, you feel proud. Wow! Well, it's not 80, I'm not coming. Yeah, you always like to look at the positive. You don't like to look at the negative. The negative puts it into a despair and puts it in... Chas v'sholom. If you go into despair, that's opposite against everything that the Rebbe always had a chayes, and the Rebbe always appreciated every good thing that's happening, and everything good thing that's happening has to be appreciated. But over here, in the Maimer Atas Tzaveh, what the Rebbe says, Kosis, Medavs, broken, that we're still in Golus. And we're still in Golus that if from the 100 people that daven in the shtibel, only 20 show up by a shir, the stuff to brechen. It has to bother me. And what do we do about it? Each one pick one person, but just like the Rebbe said, each one take 10 people and be mashpia on them, and be mashpia on these 10 people that were mechal Shabbos and had their stores open, that they should close the stores on Shabbos. You're talking to a person that has no asoga in Shabbos. You're talking to a person that doesn't know what Shabbos is. But be mashpia on him that he should close the store on Shabbos because he's a yid and he has to close on Shabbos. Everybody that is already has the hasoga, that he goes to a shtibel and he goes to a place and he davens and he has a certain sheikh sidus and he wants to have that sheikh sidus. He wants to be the chazan. Tell him the next step. Wake up. There was once every Chol Moed, whatever it was, there was the meeting of Tzach. used to give duchs to everything that Tzach is doing in the world. Once there was the one that wrote the Shas, what's his name? Steinzel. Evan Yisrael. He ever changed his name to Evan Yisrael. And everybody was feeling good. We made 50 Balat Tshuva, we made 100 Balat Tshuva, we made 1,000 Balat Tshuva, we opened up another 10 Chabad houses, we opened up another this. We're conquering the world is ours. The Fotzma Yodas is going full strength. And he was... he started laughing, I don't know what he started crying, I don't know what he did, but Al Capone, he was... Hey, you sugar? Let's say you have 1 million people, 2 million people, 5 million people that you could be Chassidim. There's 16 million Yidden in the world. You need efforts in my Yonas. We're not mevatel chas v'sholom. Every single Yid is an Olam Molech. Every single Yid is a total revolution. Every single Yid is a total revolution. But to say our job is par excellence, we did everything that could be done, and be realistic. So now I don't have such big struggles like he has. I don't know what 60 million people in the world. I never made a census. I don't know what this and that. I don't know all these things. I mean, he knew those things. What's bothering me is Kerem Shalim, Kerem Shachon Tartu, like Chazal say. Kerem Shalim. When I grew up, I didn't grow up in the Lubavitcher Sviva. It's Chatzorani Masker. Okay, so when I was a young teenager, I was in Baltimore. What attracted me to Chassidus? What attracted me to Lubavitch? What gave me and told me, Lubavitch, this is the way? What attracted me as a young boy? In the whole Baltimore, was Yeshivas, Mashgichim, this, and all the Yeshivas that they have over there. In the entire Baltimore, all the from the Shuls that they have over there, in the entire Baltimore, you had 4, 5 Yidden that had a beard. A complete beard, not a trim beard. Complete beard, 5 people. One was Alter and Guy Sharov.
Taub.
I don't remember his name. What's the difference? Don't remember. Alter and Guy Sharov. They couldn't stand in the shtibel. I once went there in the shtibel. So he had the long pants without beards. Whatever. I couldn't take it. But then you had Zirkin, and Zirkin's Chavrusa, the old Zirkin, and a Balchuva from Yeshiva Shabbos. Who was Nizar and Chol Yisrael in the entire Baltimore? That was the Chassidim. Those few people, individuals. What? Feldman came later. He was in his own section. I wasn't in his section. He was the Rov of the Shul. And that was later on top, even before Feldman came. And an hour later, you had Feldman also. Later you had Feldman. My definition of authentic Yiddishkeit, that's Chassidus. And that's what they represented. And this is not only my feeling. How many times I hear from the Rebbe, by the Farbrengen's Yutes Kislev, the Rebbe said, although it's Yutes Kislev, the Rebbe spoke that there's people, the Tainu, there's the Chem of the Grove, this, and that's why they can't come close to Chassidus. Molekis Nagdus. So Rebbe says, when you see a Yid that's makbid in 2 pairs of children, you see a Yid that's makbid in Chol Yisrael, you see a Yid that's makbid in Avol Natal's cotton. You see, he doesn't touch his beard. Tainen zei, die misnagde, mistomet dos achoset. Mistomet dos achoset. I heard this at least 5 times since everybody Farbrengen. So made it the whole siba of the chayrim was that the whole siba of the chayrim was that with the wegging from derech hayadus, with the wegging from derech haTorah. Over here, they themselves are mevatel the whole siba of the chayrim, because when you see somebody being mahader b'mitzvah, somebody being mahader in davening barichas, and somebody wearing a tall skirt, mistomet as a chassid. So you see that other Rebbe. I heard this many times. You test Kislev and the Rebbe spoke about this thing of Fos Mayonas or learning Chassidus, and that there can't be any snaglus for learning Chassidus nowadays. Many times the Rebbe spoke about it. But what did the Rebbe speak? Because the Chassid, he represents a Yid that is connected with Torah and mitzvahs and Hadar and mitzvahs, and he has a connection with the Eibishter v'chulu v'chulu. And that's what the Chassid is supposed to represent. And through that, you have Fos Mayonas. I know dozens of people. I mean, I know myself, and I was there. I mean, as a time, how did you get somebody to learn Chassidus in a Misnagish Yeshiva? What shaykhs do Misnagim have to Aviyim? What shaykhs do Misnagim have to Avodah? What shaykhs do Misnagim have to all these things? They don't even know about it. They don't learn about it. And that's how people. But a big percentage of Zikni and Chassidim of their Talmidim from Misnagish Yeshivas, that became Chassidim, and they started learning Chassidus, and they etc. But how did you do it? How were you able to poil that? Because you went forth and you were able to show it. And if you want, it's not only my heritage. Besides what the Rebbe spoke, there was a letter hanging in Chabad. I remember the letter hanging in Chabad. The biggest way which the response. I mean, this the Rebbe said in the last years. If you want to know if something is right, if something is proper, if something is the way it's supposed to be doing, if it adds to Afotis Mayona, so you know it's the right thing. Because that's what's going to bring Mashiach. And if it bothers you that we're still in Golas and Mashiach is not here yet, so then make sure to create Hafotzes Vayonis that another. The pashut of Hafotzes Vayonis is that Misnagim should start doing Chassidus. Maybe nowadays Hafotzes Vayonis is that there should be a limud Chassidus, a kviyas and Chassidus, not only is people are bragging, we have a share already of 150 people. I mean, Baruch Hashem in Crown Heights, there's 3,000, 5,000, 10,000. I don't know. I'm not good in the census. Is that something that we can pat our back on because we have a shir, because 150, 200, 500, 1,000 even of people have clear sitim over there? Is that something we can pat our back on? The Fotzma Yonas has to be not only on the outside, but it has to be on the inside. And the way you can do Hafotzes Mayonos, so how do we do it? So just like on the outside, the way you can do Hafotzes Mayonos is because it's like the letter of the Rebbe in Chabad that was, if that a bocher from Temchat Tmimim, if he behaves in such a way, that the way he davens, people say, who taught him to daven like that? The way he behaves in Olam Chaveru, who taught him this type of anhoga? The way he walks in the street with Yer Shemaim, without the v'chuli. Who taught him this? Why is it? As a Brochen Tevilim, he's learning Chassidus. So I also want to learn Chassidus. That's how you create Hafotzes Mayonos. Why should anybody want to come and learn a philosophy that has nothing to do with practicality? Let's be honest. If the Chassidus that I'm learning is not going to influence it, the davening should be a davening, hey, where did you learn how to daven like that? If the Chassidus that I'm learning is not going to influence the way I talk to somebody else, and the Sefer Panim Yofis that I show to somebody else, without Sinas Chinam, but there should be Avos Chinam and Avos Achim, like Chassidim once upon, Chassidim Ein Mishpoche, not as a song, and not as a motto, not as a slang, but in Metzias correct. No machlekes. Because that's the Aleph Beis of Chassidus. Because Achim, we all come from one Makor, we all come from one source. If this is not going to happen, so where are we headed? And this is what the Rebbe was fighting for. More than that, I heard in Yeshivas from the Rebbe that I heard in Yeshivas okay, that once Yeshivas, whatever it is, would ever ask me, you have anything else to ask? You have anything else to ask? You have anything else to ask? Okay, whatever. It's not important now what happened.
Why not?
Because it's not important right now. That's not what I'm talking about right now. Whatever. My mind is, I have a one-track mind. So if I Mashiach das, then I lose my track. And whatever it is, what should I do? Sorry. So I'll go upon it. So the Rebbe said, I want you to finish with your Yonim, which, when I think retroactively, that was like a shtoch, a big shtoch. Because I want to talk to you about my Yonim. You understand the shtoch? So what was my Yonim? When we started, what was my Yonim? Sie zählen mir, was herzlich mit der Fotos Mayones in Yeshivas. That time I was in Yeshiva, I was in Yeshiva. Sie zählen mir, was herzlich mit der Fotos Mayones. The Rebbe said in Yeshivas, das ist mein Inyan. And we heard it when it came to the whole issue with Mashiach, Ehin and Her. I mean, I'm not dealing over any politics. I'm not lost up in the dance of politics. It's destroying every dover tape. But when the Rebbe said something that contributes to Afotzes Mayonos, that's the way it's going. That's the Inyan of Mashiach. Because Mashiach himself said, something that holds back from Afotzes Mayonos, so that's not the Inyan of Mashiach.
Which Yeshiva were you in then?
Which, when?
When did I ever ask you that?
I was in Eretz Yisrael at that time. I was already older.
So what do you answer him?
What?
So what do you answer him?
What do you mean what I answered?
Well, he said, was hat sich mit der Fontes?
I told him what's going on. No, what I answered. What's enough? I gave him the duch. No, whatever duch I could give. Whatever, but I'm talking about this Nakuda. The Rebbe clearly said, this is mine Inyan. So anybody that comes to Gimmel Tammuz and want to have certain discussions, you have to think, the Rebbe's Inyan, that's, and what we heard this in a lot of sikhs and a lot of letters and a lot of pulas, somebody's going to come along and say, well, what are you talking about? To open up a Chabad house and to make a Yid about Tshuva, that's the whole revolution of the Rebbe. What are you talking about over here? All at once, are you trying to change that, or are you trying to add to that? What are you trying to do? You're making a mistake. I'm not changing anything. I'm not adding anything. The Rebbe himself said that in order to make Hafotzes Mayones, you have to have Hagdom of Hafotzes Hayadus. Somebody doesn't know that he's a Yid. Somebody doesn't, there's many places the Rebbe says, somebody doesn't know he's a Yid, he doesn't know the meaning of Yiddishkeit, so how is he going to be able to take Chassidus? Chassidus is not a philosophy or a Kabbalah center, Rahman. Yeah, in the Kabbalah center, they can make a Kabbalah, they can make this, they're teaching about mysticism, etc., etc. That's not Hafotzes HaMayonos. The whole thing of Chassidus is that Teres Chaim. It brings out the essence of Yiddishkeit, it brings out the essence of the Neshama. It's not a Kabbalah center. So Hafotzes Hayadus is Hagdoma. In order to make Hafotzes Mayonos, you need a Hagdoma Hafotzes Hayadus. Without Hafotzes Hayadus, if he doesn't realize that he's a Yid, how can he come to Chassidus? So what do you need? But you have to realize that Hafotzes Hayadus are only Hagdoma, so you should be able to come to the Tachlis of Hafotzes Mayonos. Our Inyan is Hafotzes Mayonos. That's so. In order to make Hafotzes Mayonos properly, there first has to be Hafotzes Hayadus. So that's it. But it's all one hemshich. It's not two separate inyanim. When you carve a yid, So you have to make a Yid. You should take what Yiddishkeit is, and once he takes what Yiddishkeit is, and he has a shaykhus with Yiddishkeit, then he can have a shaykhus with Chassidus. Without having a shaykhus with Yiddishkeit, Chassidus is not worth 2 cents. It's not worth 2 cents. If you take Chassidus like a Kabbalah center, Rahman Litzlan, what Obgeshman mentioned, they take it totally wrong. At any rate, so the first achai is, you want to be makusha with the Rebbe. How can I bring another Yid closer to what the Rebbe wanted? What did the Rebbe want? So, as Chassidim, the small Chassidim, they thought the first thing is that what the Rebbe wanted is he needs more people that are become his Chassidim. He needs more people that join the group of Chabad. This is again another small-headed, mistaken notion. What the Rebbe wanted is that people should learn Chassidus. When somebody learns Chassidus, aliba de emes, and he sees that there is such a thing as a lakus, and there is a lakim chayim, and there is a teres chayim, and there's a nishmas chayim, and he learns all these things, then derech memel he'll become Chabad. There's no other way. There has to be a tetzor, not that is mitzad atzmut, as a separate thing. If you make it into a separate thing, so you're missing the boat. That what Chabad is by us, the preciousness of Chabad, and this is Chabad, and the Rebbe is the preciousness of this, because over here you have the Yechida of everything, the essence of what it's all about. So you have to go step by step. You want to jump 50 steps. Yay, the Rebbe is great, v'chuli, while he's smoking a cigarette on Shabbos. Did I accomplish something? Let's be honest. Yeah, there was a Yid, and with the Tmimas. He did it with the Tmimas. He was a Tinnik Shenishba. And by him it was Taka Pearl. It was a Yid from Toronto or whatever. He used to travel on Shabbos with a plane to hear the Rebbe blowing shofar. He was such a Yid. But he was a Tinnik Shenishba. He didn't know any better. So by Tinnik Shenishba, so it's a Tinnik Shenishba. So that honest Rachmane Patre, so there is such a Metzias. But Chatchila to make such a, so by him it was Taka Gewaltige Zach. He didn't know any better. He didn't know what's right and what's wrong. And you had Kama such Yidden a baseball player, whatever, or the coach, whatever it was. I don't remember all the names. They became a kusha, whatever. But that it was more than a neshama. It was a neshama zach. It wasn't hero worship. When it's a neshama zach, and you know the difference. It's a neshama zach. It's a neshama zach. The Rebbe wants every Yid to be a Yid. He wants every Yid to have a constant wake up and know what Yiddishkeit is. In order to know what Yiddishkeit is, he has to know Chassidus. In order to know what Chassidus is, so we have the Geluyim of Lekutei Sichas and Igros Kodesh, etc., etc. And it is a negea to every single aspect of life. So in different words, what the Rebbe says in the Maimar Atat Tzavah, it has to bother us that we're in Golus. And the Rebbe explains that. Why does that bring out more the real Mesiras Nefesh, the real thing, than the Mesiras Nefesh than there was in Russia? The Rebbe says because over there it was the Etzem HaNeshama that wasn't much beyond the Koiches HaGluim, so it wasn't the full Etzem HaNeshama. In order for the Etzem HaNeshama to know I know that you're taka connected with the Etzem HaNeshama, that you're connected with Yechida, is when it's choder in every single level. That's the whole Arichas in Kuntus and Yanish Oteres Chassidus also. Okay, we're not shleimim. I understand we're not shleimim, but there's something that if we learn this and we learn it over and we deal with it and we think into it, so we have to start waking up a little bit, not living in our bubble. I think it's called a bubble. I live in a bubble. I'm fine. Everything is good. Give myself a pat in the back. I even learned the Maimon Chassidus this morning, and I went to daven and then v'chuli, and how did it express itself with your neighbor? How did it express itself in your surrounding? How did it express itself in v'chuli? That's already a different question. Okay, I'm not trying to put anybody down. Don't get me wrong. Aber as good is good, is besser. It's everything good thing that you're doing is one plus. It's another $1 in the bank account. It's another $10,000 in the bank account. But if you can have $1 million in the bank account, why should you be satisfied with 10,000? Let's put it in Gashmistic terms. The Rebbe taught us over here what is the Nekudas Hadvorim, what is the essence, and what is the central point of everything of what's going on in Yiddishkeit, and what's going on in Chassidus. And we, through the sichos of the Rebbe, through the letters of the Rebbe, we can connect to that, and we can live with it. And we have that ability. The Yitzhak is trying to tell us, I'm not Rabbi Masvid, I'm not Rabbi Mendel Futterfass, I'm not this, I'm not that. I'm a simple person, I'm an American boychik of 23. And what can be demanded? How can you demand anything more than that? I don't know. I think the Rebbe was, I don't think there was a bigger realist than the Rebbe himself. And the Rebbe demanded it. So when I'm just saying it in grobe Werte, the Rebbe said it in edle Werte. So, but it's the same thing. I'm talking too much. L'chaim. What are you doing here? You should be by a bacher Farbrengen. L'chaim. Sinds de Chassidische Farbrengen, hope of Chassidische Farbrengen. Chassidische Farbrengen is not a double portion. Oh, wait. It's the harder works. Whatever. How is the Chassidische Farbrengen? So first of all, the Chassidische Farbrengen can ufton, kemal from Chol nicht ufton. So please, L'chaim and David, Ben Sorry Sausage, have refuah shleima and Gichen. Daniel ben Sorry Sausage, have refuah shleima and Gichen. Whoever else needs a refuah should have refuah and Gichen. Well, let's take that in itself. The Chassidische Farbrengen can ufton, kemal from Chol nicht ufton. And the way the story is told in the end of Tilim, there's also somebody needed a refuah. He came to the Maggid's Talmidim, the Alter Rebbe included the Rosh Talmidim, and he asked him to give a bracha for somebody that needs a refuah. And the Chassidim stripped him up, pushed him away. For that, you have to go to the Rebbe, you have to go to the Maggid. What are you coming to us? The more they pushed him away, the more he started crying, the more he started nudging them. That's the way the story is written. Until the Alter Rebbe got up and said, Shah! Don't you remember the Piska, the Nofel, Shmei Shmayo, there was a Chassidische Farbrengen, Kanutan, Kamal, Mechol, Nicht Ufton, we have to wish him. And there was many times a voice from the Rebbe, when my sister was, when she was in danger of her life, when she was a small baby. So the first thing they have, and this is not only with my sister, but I know common stories they ever said to make a Chassidische Farbrengen in the house. For refuah. The Chassidische Farbrengen can ufton, the Malach nicht ufton. It has to be a Chassidische Farbrengen. So now that is talking for what? That is talking for Shinei HaTeva. Someone needs a refuah. If you get a refuah, it's a Shinei HaTeva. Shinei HaTeva is the Eibusher created Teva. When you want to poil Shinei HaTeva, I mean, so by something you're not allowed to mispal for a nes because you're going against the Teva that Eibusher created, etc., etc. The story that happened with my father of Hashem. I was in Eretz Yisrael and I got this phone call that what? They found a tumor in his brain. And it was ready after the operation. And the doctors gave him 3 months. So they had no, till then I didn't know anything. It was a phone call out of the blue. Gave him 3 months. So I went crazy. I went to Koisel Amarovi, said Tilim a whole night. And while I was saying Tilim, I remembered the stories that the Koyach HaTorah, Rov Paskins, he can do things. The stories of the Baal Shem Tov, the crazy. The Rebbe told us stories. So in the morning I went to Dan Weiss, my version of and I told him the facts of life. And I told him, tell me, if somebody has the capability of healing somebody, is he obligated to heal him? Of course he's obligated to heal him. Whatever you can do to help another Yid, you have to do it. So, Magid Dvar V'Yakachuk Mishpat Yisrael, the Eibusher has the ability to heal. So So I want you to pass me. You have to hear. He became white face. He says, that's for the Rosh Hashanah, not for us. We can't pass me on stage. Can't pass me on stage. So you want me to pass me and tell the everything what to do? I can't do such a thing. I argued with him back and forth. Would you care? No. Can't do such a thing. Because a psak din is a psak din. It's not that hefkeris which is to make a psak din. So okay, so I didn't give up, and him I met in his house. So I went to the Bezdin Shtibel. In the Bezdin Shtibel there were 3 Dayomim. And the 3 Dayom also daily Yisrael, big poskim. And I realized I can't tell them why I want the psak, because then I'll get the same reaction like Dan Weiss gave me. So I told him, I have a silly question, a stupid question. I know the answer is very simple. But I'm asking you to answer, even though it's a stupid question, answer me, that's all. I said, if somebody has the ability to heal somebody else, is it included about the Tzeirei to heal? That's all I asked. I didn't say that. I didn't tell the story. I didn't tell him why I want to say. I said, what do you want over here? The question was too simple. But, what do you want? So I said, what do you care? I'm asking you to please ask and tell me if somebody has the ability to heal, about the Tzeirei to heal. Back and forth, 5-10 minutes, back and forth. They told me, what do you want from us? I'm asking them, what do you care? I'm asking you a simple question. I know the answer is very simple. Just give me an answer. They didn't give me an answer. They didn't budge. Made me angry. Made me gross. Then in the middle of the fighting back and forth, Diane Weiss walked in. I saw that something is going on over there. So he went and whispered in the ear. Went and whispered in the ears to explain to them what's going on over here. And I promise you, they became white like snow. They saw what they... We can't do it. We can't do it. I promise you, it is white like snow. Okay, strike 2. So there was another Yid, he was the Av-Bezin of the Bezin of the Buddhist Shul. I went to him. No. The Av-Bezin. Wasn't dying. I forget his name. I have written it down. So over here I said, I see I have nothing to lose. If I ask a simple question, they'll say, look at it, stupid. If I explain it, to English. So literally I broke down crying. He said, I'm not asking you to do anything. Just write, give me a letter of a psak and I'll send it to the Rebbe. The Rebbe will know what to do with such a psak. Just tell me what das Tzeirei is, what the Tzeirei passes in such a case. I explained to him and everything else. So it touched him. It touched him, I cried, it touched him, whatever it was. And suddenly he went like this. And he started pacing the floor, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. He started pacing the floor. And I couldn't understand what's bothering these people. What's going on over there? What's he pacing the floor? What's so difficult over here? It's a different what's the problem? Pacing back and forth, back and forth. And then he went, and then I made a mistake, not before he went like this, after he was pacing for like 5-10 minutes, I don't remember how many minutes it was. So he went like this, and he sat down and wrote, and gave me a letter. So what he wrote, I understood what's bothering him. So people should be responsible for ladies. If this psak is so simple, etc., that means we're going to abolish sickness in the world, because the Eibishter can abolish sickness. We can't abolish dark activity. So what did he write? He wrote in the letter that in Shulchan it says that even for Chai Shor, you're allowed to be in Chal Shabbos. Even if a person should only live momentarily, you're allowed to be in Chal Shabbos. Koshkin, somebody does whatever amount he can live, and it doesn't contradict him. So that should happen. So You know, it's not that I have to make over here and I have to change everything. I have to break down the Gidri Teva. The Eibusha created Teva, but whatever is possible within Teva, that should happen. So the 3 months that the doctors, idiots, they said, my father lived after that for another year and a half, 2 years, or whatever, until he saw the last of his children getting married and having a child. Getting married and having a child. After the grace of the last child got married, then a short time afterwards he passed away. In other words, sometimes it is. So Al Koponis over here in the letter in the back of Tilim. So now that was the Chaya Shor. Now you have to be Mechal Shabbos, and so that the extra has to do.
Well, Babich are trade. They pass it wherever they want.
I understand. It has to be. But you can't. This is. I'm just calling it a nice issue. So Al Koponis over here in the letter it says. Over here in the letter it says that yes, was a chassidische Farbrengen can ufton kamal v'chol nicht ufton, and that's in Teva. The Teva, the Rebbe brings the Rosh around. The Teva is a bria, brings the body to Shemaim v'shoretz, and le'ovid couldn't go from Nisa le'migla. They were not going to make because the Eibishter wants a world up in Teva. He wants a dir b'tachtonim. Wants a deer of and that means that there has to be a tivistic world with the limitations of that. Certain things within Teva, but that you can accomplish. Nowadays, there's no steer for people live to 120 or whatever. But the Chiddush Rabbein came out in the Chol Mishtuv, and over here was talking about. Somebody had needed a refuah, so Chiddush Rabbein can was. So now, let's think for a second. This is talking about Teva and it's talking about Gashmis. When you have if Chiddush Rabbein can ufton that it can even accomplish something which has to do with Teva, even a poil over there. How much more so when it comes to Ruchni is that over there that is the of there. There's the Eitzahor, there's a Nefesh of Bahamis, there's Mechassid, and the Seinis are big, the darkness is great. The Eibishter wants us to break through the darkness. How do we break through the darkness? If you have over here tonight, this Farbrengen, whatever it is, you have over here Farbrengen. Call the Chiddush Farbrengen because the Kavanah is definitely a Ritzuya. Whether it's Taka the Teichen of the Chiddush Farbrengen, that I don't know, that the Eibishter will pass. But the Kavanah is definitely Ritzuya. We want to have a Chiddush Farbrengen to do the right thing, to make the right achlot. That's the Taich of a Chiddush Farbrengen. You come to a Bechein. So, what does the Eitzahor do? Nothing is going to change anyway, and I already had a Farbrengen, and I made a achlot, and it lasted most 72 hours, and whatever, and it's not going to be. Yeah, that's the amolik that comes right away when something can be accomplished. That is exactly the way it works. Being machlit, from now on, I'm going to daven 10 minutes more. I'm not asking big things. A little bit slower. Being machlit, I will have that kriyasit with Torah. Kriyasit bizman, kriyasit with nefesh. With limud Torah, it means something. I will think every day. Maybe right after Moed Ani, Lefanecha, Melech Chai V'Kayim, Shazat V'In Shmosi. Why did they give him back in Hashem? And I was zeicher to hear something that is a Rebbe, and that it says exactly what the Eibusha wants from every single year. Be machlit right after Moed Ani. What am I going to do today to make the Rebbe happy? What am I going to do today? That you give yourself, I'm not telling you how much or how far you think, not a big is bonus, but you start off the morning with the Moed Ani, and after Moed Ani, you have to be Nishmosi, and the Rebbe teaches us what it means exactly, you have to be Nishmosi. Nishmosi, which is a chelik al-kai mimal. And the Rebbe taught us exactly what this neshama wants and how we should go about it. And I would think then also together with right after Moed Ani, What's today's, how today will it look, and will have more in sync with what the Rebbe would want me to deal with in the Shmos that the Rebbe sent down to me. Mege Rama Lebira Mikto, Moshcha Tchuyo, everything. But the Rebbe sends this neshama down into this grubber place. Why does he send it down? What did the Rebbe teach you? Why does the Rebbe do that? So think for a few minutes. And you can think it even before Negovasa, because you're not saying anything. You don't want to think about the Rebbe before Negovasa, even though you're thinking about Atzum Sein Sober. So you're separating. You're saying this is Geluyim, this is higher than Geluyim, so you can't think about that. So okay, so wash Negovasa and then think. Let it put it in your mind. Put it in your mind that together with the Moed Ani, that the Rebbe explains the Moed Ani. What's the Moed Ani all about? That brings out the very essence of my Yiddishkeit. And how to bring out the essence of Yiddishkeit in Poel Mamash, that it should take through and conquer the Koiches HaGluyim. So if you make such hachlota by the Chassidish Farbrengen, even though the Yetzer Hara telling him, nah, I gotta be real, I know what I am, I know what Danish can come. If you compile a shinui in Gashmi, as you compile a shinui in Tevet, if when you say l'chaim, you make a hachlota, koshkem kavachomer, where the Eibishter helps and he wants to do it, and only the Yetzer Hara, the Samach Mem, that's holding me back. Because that is why is he holding me back? Because he knows if Reuven and Shimon and Levi and every single Yid is going to wake up tomorrow morning with Epis Hachlota Teva, how today am I going to live a little bit better the way the Rebbe wants me to live? And that's the Teichen of Gimmel Tammuz. That's what this Kashas the Rebbe means. I heard a story today that was a big shliach. He used to write a duch to the Rebbe once every week. He had a lot of pullers. And he used to get an answer right away. On everything. Then, after his pullers became bigger, and he became busier, and he became this and that. And he wrote the Rebbe only every 2 weeks. Once he started writing the Rebbe every 2 weeks, no more answers from the Rebbe. Nothing. You can understand it. At least he got an answer. 4 letters a month. He's saving the Rebbe time. He only has to send 2 letters a month. No answer. So he called the Maskiras and he spoke to Rebbe Chodakov. It was one of the biggest shluchim. I suppose he had kind of channels, whatever, to call it. And he asked Rebbe Chodakov what's going on. The Rebbe Chodakov answered very simple. When you had the Kabbalah soil to write to the Rebbe, you knew you have to give a duch. And you have to write to the Rebbe, and you're working for the Rebbe, and you're shliach of the Rebbe. So the Rebbe answered you. The minute that you said you're too busy to write, and therefore I can only write twice a week, so, and you wait until you find some spare time in your busyness. So the Rebbe also said, I'll wait till I find some spare time to answer. That's it. That's the Rebbe Chodakov answered. So, I mean, there's nothing to the Rebbe. I can tell you a personal story. I told you it many times. It's a main dugmas there. As a bocher, I was spoiled. I used to get a lot of answers. The question, this. After I got married, I was mavudel, and I got a new stage in life, and new thing, new story, and this and that. And I wrote the Rebbe 1 letter, 2 letters, 5 letters, 7 letters. Not one answer. Not one answer. I couldn't understand what's going on. It's so I decided, listen to the Grobium. Honestly, I said that to myself. You got so many letters from the Rebbe. Okay, some were michtam protein, some were michtam clothing protein, some were whatever, very suffering the bottom. How much should you really study the letters of the Rebbe? And how many of the roys of the Rebbe are you introducing into your daily life? The Rebbe wrote it. The Rebbe took from his precious time and wrote these letters. I said, I made a cheshbon nefesh. Why am I not getting any answer? So I decided I'm going to go through all the letters I got from the Rebbe. And I'll take a notebook and write down the hilula, each letter, what the word was the Gimmel. I sat down and wrote that notebook with all the hilulas that came out from all these letters. And that I wrote to the Rebbe. That probably I didn't get an answer because of his issues. Because how much did I actually try to keep? Did it permeate my life? Let's put it that way. So I decided I wrote. Otherwise, I would have felt the same as I was today, like I felt then. I know it's we're human beings and we're a physical world, but then I meant it really serious, and for a while I kept it. And I don't remember. It took 10 days. I was in Eretz Yisrael then. It took 10 days, minimum time. And I got a package of 7 letters retroactively. All the letters there, which is the same treatment as what this year. You want to, when you're busy, you're too busy to write. So it's only when you're not busy. So that was also when you're not busy, get an answer. Come on, we make achlotas in our life. And we think this is what we ever wanted. We're so, yes, the Rebbe wanted everything. The Torah is big, and it takes through our life from there's not one thing that's outside of Torah, right? Everything is in Torah. So the Yetzer comes and says, like the Gemara says, that it's too big, it's too hard, I can't fulfill the whole thing anyway. What does the Gemara say about it? Shaita! Somebody says the Torah is too big, I'll never be able to learn it anyway, so why start? That's the Shaita, the Gemara, the Tippish, the Gemara calls him. What does the Chacham say? Elmat halacha achas hayom, halacha achas mocher, and another halacha the next day. Pruta mitzarefes cheshbon gadol, and then you're going to get somewhere. If you do one act every single day, do you know what that means? That means 354, 365, or whatever, 383 acts in the year, which add up. Pruta mitzarefes cheshbon gadol. So the Yetzer comes, I know the Rebbe wants everything, from alt to tov, from the when I wake up in the morning to the ani, all the way to go to sleep, and even while I'm sleeping, there's hilulas, and there's teachings, and there's memories, and there's sichos. I don't have to koiches. Budge! Move! What's this alphas? Why are you in a state of this alphas? Therefore, I don't have to koiches, and therefore nothing finished, only what comes with habit. Move! Start somewhere. If you're not going to start, you're not going to get anywhere. So do it with the dover kal. Start with the dover kal. Move up from one dover kal to another dover kal. What I could do, 10 minutes is too much. Whenever you say, I won't have kavanah in the whole daven. Impossible. Whenever you say Baruch Atah Havaya, you think about the Pirush HaMilos. Just start with that. I'm just using one example. Baruch Atah Havaya, mentioning Hashem's name, it shouldn't be mentioned in vain. Baruch Atah Havaya. You're meeting a friend in Shul anyway, you're going to Shul, you're davening with him, etc., etc. What's the big deal if there is show a little bit of obvious soul to one Yid a day, 2 Yidim a day, give him a smile, make him feel good, say a good word. Good word. You ever wanted it? Ever asked for it? You're meeting a Yid, you see that he doesn't know from anything from left to right, v'chuli. Try to introduce him. Hey, you want to learn something about your Judaism? Or Mr. Chilna, the Rebbe gave us all kinds of mifsoim. To try to do something about the ultimate mifsoim, the 10 mifsoim, which are kol Torah kula. Move! As we started off, let's get out of our hisalfos. And if you start moving, so then when we start thinking that until I make the total revolution, until everything is 100%, so nothing can start, that is the biggest tipshus possible. And that's not the way the Rebbe worked. And there has to be the pruta, mitzvah, the cheshbon kotel. The same thing is somebody that's already in Askonas, and somebody that's already in a Chabad house, and somebody that's already a shliach, and somebody that's already in this. The Arshluchim, which you see, Peiris Mamash, the Arshluchim that, whatever, I'm not speaking about anybody, I don't know the nisyanis of everybody. But if a shliach would think, what did I do today to be Malam my shlichas? That I have the title of shliach of the Shulchan Shalom Kamois. And the Rebbe in the last year, he said, everybody is a shliach. What did I do to Mamala my shlichus? And this has to start with the Maidani in the morning, because it's part of why Nichzar to be Nishmasi. Somehow, you want to call it cursed or you want to call it blessed, whichever way you want. That's the B'chira Chofshis. Somehow we are put in that matzav that we were connected with Lubavitch, and we heard about Lubavitch Rebbe, and we saw about Lubavitch Rebbe's sichos, and we saw about Lubavitch Rebbe's demands, and we saw about all these things, and whether we heard it from others, we heard it from our surrounding, we grew up with it, whatever way it is, call it blessed or call it cursed, whatever way it is. But that's the Matthias Advar. So therefore do something about it. Yes. It's not easy. And the Rebbe wanted everything, because the Rebbe was everything, and it's Mashu Oiseh. He demanded from ourselves, each one according to his capabilities. Not that I have to be like a Mendel Futterfass, but that I have to be me, like the Rebbe said many times. And whatever I could do, and whatever I'm aware of, so that I have to wake up. That's Gimmel Tammuz, my friends. Gimmel Tammuz is that they, like it says in the Geras HaKodesh, and like the Rebbe spoke many times, it's a day when the Neshama is Aleph, goes to higher levels that we have no imagination whatsoever, what levels the Neshama goes. And anybody that wants to schlep along, if you want to call it schlepping, anybody who wants to schlep along, or anybody who wants to go along, anybody who wants to ride along, anybody who wants to elevate himself along, has the opportunity. And the Geras HaKodesh says, how do you have to have the opportunity? And that's what has to come out from Gimmel Tammuz. Okay. Rabbi Ezra, I don't know what else to say. Seid mir gesund. L'chaim, l'chaim. Yeah, you have anything to say to me? Say it. L'chaim.
Do you still have the notebook where you wrote down all the Tzeirei?
Of course.
Yeah?
But I'm going to throw away such a notebook. Do I look at it often enough? That's questionable.
Are you going to publish it?
What?
Parts of it. What? You can publish it without your name. You have
You have a body, not Avdi.
Oh, whoops. Sorry. There's only Kudus in there.
Got to read it like a Swedish name. Okay, no, anything, what time is it?
It's early.
10 to 12.
It's early.
Okay, it's a little early.
California time is still 9 o'clock.
What?
California time is still 9 o'clock.
That's not the point. I have an appointment at oil at 2 o'clock.
I suggest to
Same one about the story with the chitas of the Rebbe. The story with the chitas of the Rebbe. His feet were not good. His feet couldn't walk properly, and he went to the Rebbe about the Rebbe told him to start with the chitas.
He was able.
I don't remember.
Just so we don't forget that it exists. It's not even. Is that what they actually did? That's why I think it looked similar, but it was different. We have to use this method.
Levi, when he's talking to you, when he's talking about shlich, he's talking about you already? And saying that darka?
I'm off. Ik wil een slecht, allemaal een slecht. I'm stuck for life.
Dat niet. Het mocht een beetje veel langer. I know buttons. Those guys, I think.
Sundays here, yeah. Butler's got Rosh is asking for people to challenge him. Why is that no? Whatever, ask him a question. Get him started.
Nog een halve show.
What?
Een half hour.
Okay.
Sure. What you do? Actually, no.
There?
No, does anybody have anything to say? Maybe inspire me a little bit?
We're all niche Nitke. It's hard to challenge you, Rabbi Schochet.
Who said that?
We're all causes.
Your causes?
We have no care even to challenge anymore.
That's hepech of the whole gish of the Rebbe. Are you going to say how can your causes first of all the whole Tanya, how does it start off? And this we saw by the Rebbe b'Muchas. It's something I said already many times. The Rebbe taught 12 psukim, right? For Tashbar. Simfetziras Hashem. With that you become Chayel Yavaya. That's what the Rebbe taught. That's what the Rebbe spoke about a lot. Now we know that one of the Yesivas of Chassidus is, over there in these 12 psukim, the Rebbe gave all the Yesivas in Ganz Yiddishkeit. If somebody thinks into them, somebody goes through with them, and through them, it's all the Yesivas of Yiddishkeit. In everything, in Tzeirei, Avodah, Yisrael, in everything. Now, we know that one of the Yesivas of Chassidus is Simcha. Tanya starts off with Simcha. Tanya starts off with, how could it be, a political question. How could it be Chazal to say to Rosh b'fnei Atzmacho, and he asks the steer, he's not satisfied with the steer. The Rebbe explains why isn't he satisfied with the steer. He's not satisfied with the steer because that what Chazal say, Al ti Rosh b'fnei Atzmacho, there's different pirushim. Like one of the pirushim of the Rambam is, don't do things which will make you into a Rosh. Not that if you did things that you're a Rosh, don't think about yourself like a Rosh. That's one pirush, but there's other pirushim in the Rishonim. So according to those other pirushim, there's no steer. So so the Alter Rebbe goes on to ask another question. Gami Yevein Rosh Yeir Levava Yochel Avad Hashem B'Simcha B'Tuf Levov. V'im Lo Yeir Levava Kal Mezeh Yochel Avad Kalas Chas V'Shalom. That's how Tanya starts off, correct? So he starts off by asking a kasha to Maimon Chazal that since this Maimon Chazal Kapshuta is going to be a steer to Avodas Hashem B'Simcha, so it can't be. There can't be anything in Torah that's going to be a steer to Avodas Hashem B'Simcha. And that's why we have to understand Pshat. What's the Pshat in this Maimon Chazal? That's how Tanya starts off. What's stuck in the answer to the question? Okay, that's not selling. That's from the Rebbe. The simple answer that the Gabi Stira is Ibn Echa Kurosha is Kirosha, Kabeinani. You have Yitzhar. So that's a good answer for a Beinani. Okay? Kirosha. For somebody that can tell himself that his wishes is a Beinani, so you have an answer. What do I do? Somebody like me. What do I do? And somebody that's a Rosh Be'emes. You say Rosh Be'emes, nobody is a Rosh Be'emes, right? Nobody. That's somebody that's terrible. That's such a sheker. That's the biggest sheker that we fool ourselves with. When's the last time you had to hear tshuva for a bittul Torah? When's the last time you had to hear a tshuva for Lashon Hara? When's the last time you had to hear a tshuva for... I don't want to go through the whole list. I'm just going through my list. So, when's that? So that's the Rosh Hashanah. So now this Rosh Hashanah is not only is not a Beinin. This was a Pesach by Chassidim. Halavai Yebeinin. Halavai Beinin. I say Halavai Rosh Hashanah. That's what I say to myself. I should have a hero tshuva for everything I did wrong. Because Rosh Hashanah has a hero tshuva for everything he did wrong. And I don't know, when I make a cheshbon on nefesh, it doesn't look like that. So what should I do with this question? If you can't serve the Eibush with Simcha, something is wrong. So the Tzemach Tzedek and the Rebbe elaborates on that it says the answer to that question, that if it's something which is steer to Simcha, so the answer to that is in Perek Lamed Aleph and in Perek Lamed Dalet. But the Ayav of Alba Simcha is a Nefesh B'atzon Aguf. The lower you look upon yourself, the more reason there is to be besimcha when you're doing a mitzvah, and you're giving a capability, you have a shlichus from the Rebbe, and you have something to do, and you have something to accomplish, because that's a simchas hanefesh. The ein simcha g'deila mizu, that when a ben melech goes out of the shivya, and learn and attach yourself to this concept that when you're creating a simcha, the melech malcham melech HaKadosh Baruch Hu, ein lecha simcha g'deila mizu. Simcha does not mean that I give myself a pat on the back and I feel good about myself. That's a Baba Maisa. Simcha means I did something which the Eibush sent me to this world to accomplish. That's where real Simcha comes in. The Guf is whatever it is. The Nefesh Bam is whatever it is. Not that I can be satisfied with that. That's not what we're saying. But we're saying even though that is the massive, you still have a job to do. You still have a shlichus to do. You still have a capability of accomplishing something in this world. So stop living in your self-centeredness that since I can't be a tzaddik, since I can't be the big chassid, since I can't, so never forget it. You can accomplish a simcha by melech malcham lochem HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which ain't simcha g'deila mizu. That's what you can accomplish. And the worse you look upon yourself, and the more you put yourself down, the greater is the simcha by the Eibishter when you're doing the right thing. Because at that point, your nefesh or the keys is going out of its blood, out of its mud. It's going out of its dirt. It's going into a place where it wants to be. And this is the biggest simcha that could be. Start concentrating and making a simcha, which is the simchas Hashem. So this is, it's a big concept in Chassidus. Tanya starts off with that. So here comes along kids before Bar Mitzvah. Simcha is a big concept. Where is the pasuk of Simcha? In the top. Where's the pasuk for simcha? There is a pasuk, right? Yismach Yisrael Goyisrael. Pirush Shekol Mishu Mizera Yisrael. Yesh L'Smeach B'Simchas Hashem Shesos V'Sameach B'Dirosa B'Tachtonim. You're talking to a 12-year-old. You're talking to a 6-year-old. You're telling him, where is your simcha? Simchas Hashem Shesos V'Sameach B'Dirosa B'Tachtonim. That's the 12-year-old, the oldest, and the 6-year-old. They have a concept of what you're saying to them. You understand what you're saying to them? So the Rebbe, who was able to to lower himself down to the simplest person, and he wants to bring all the concepts of Yiddishkeit and everything that's important, all the concepts of Tzidus, all the concepts to the Tzidus Hashem, to all the soldiers. So what's the concept of simple? They brings himself. But here's the big mistake that we're all making. And this is what the Rebbe taught us. And the Rebbe said many sikhs like that. It's not my figures. Many sikhs, when the Rebbe spoke to kids, he said this with figures. Our problem is, I don't know if your problem, my problem is, that unless everything is like 100%, unless I'm exactly, I can start figuring I belong to this company of the big chassidim, so then I'm no good. Finished, kaput. Nothing I can accomplish. It doesn't have, my learning is nothing, my davening is nothing, that's a mistake that a lot of people make. The shigoyin hagadlus, I call it. That everybody wants, that thinks that only once I've reached this, I suffer from that too. So, how many sikhs were there from the Rebbe that when a little kid goes into the store and he wants to buy a candy bar, for his Rebbe Shabbat, but he looks at the ingredients. He looks if there's a hechsher. And unless there's a hechsher, a good hechsher, that he's allowed to eat it, he's not going to buy it. That's Simchas Hashem. How many times did you ever speak that when a kid, the other kid is jealous and this and that, but he has a better toy, he has a better this, he did better on the test. But he says to himself, I got to be friends. I'm not going to let the jealousy overcome me. That's in Hashem. That's a true in Abbas Yisrael. Not that they didn't do anything big. How many times did I ever speak a sikha? That in other words, we take the words. Shapiro should call me Shehu Mizeri Yisrael. Me, you. Call me Shehu Mizeri Yisrael. Who's not Mizeri Yisrael? You don't have to be any Madrega to be a Zeri Yisrael. Zeri Yisrael is a fact. You're born by a Jewish mother. You're Zeri Yisrael. Shekol Mishu Mizeri Yisrael Yeshu Etzmech B'Simchas Hashem Shesos V'Samech V'Diros V'Tachtonim. Where's the deal with Tachtonim? So unless I'm going to change around Times Square, that it'll become like the Kikar Shabbos in Yerushalayim, there's no deal with Tachtonim. That's the same Shigoyin HaGadlus. You walk in the street and you close your eyes when you're supposed to close your eyes. Or you walk in the street, and although today it's not a mitzvah, once upon a time, not too long ago, there's not even 100 years. I don't know the regular what? I don't know which year. I don't remember now the cheshbonos. But there was the first mitzvah in America that the Friedrich Rebbe, that the Rebbe introduced and wrote about it every year, and made a girl was Mishnayis Balpeh, and it's written in Hayom Yom Kama Palmen. And that when you walk in the street and you chazer Mishnayis Balpeh, it's okay, became the Chassidim today. Mishnayis, that's for, I don't know what, but it has to be Tanya Balpeh. Well, okay, but you walk in the street and you chazer something Balpeh, you're metired the avir, you're changing around, that in New York becomes a little bit edler, Los Angeles becomes a little bit edler, this becomes a little bit edler, that because you're walking in the street, that's dir b'tachtonim. You're making the dir b'tachtonim. That's how Chabad started off in America. Those were the first Miftoim. That's the Simchas Hashem. You walk in the street and you could have been talking to Dvarim B'Telim, or you could have been talking, but instead of that, you're chazing over a Maimer, you're chazing over a Sicha, you're chazing over a verse from the Rebbe, or you're chazing over a Heroy from the Rebbe, or you're chazing over a letter from the Rebbe. That's Simchas Hashem. So what the heck are you talking about? About Dako, the coin, the Kosses? What in the world are you talking about? When the Rebbe is talking about Kosses is, don't give yourself a pat on the back. I'm already where I'm supposed to be. You still got a job to do. He's not talking about a Kosses that okay, I go to sleep. The difference between Atzvus and Rirus, etc. Remember, you have to go into it. It's Gimmel Tammuz, my friends. The Rebbe took the highest concepts of Chassidus, carried them down to the simplest levels, so that everybody, even a schnook, can be part of it. But we have to make ourselves part of it. If we're going to go tonight, okay, Baruch Hashem, I was Yaitze, my iskashus to the Rebbe, I sat by Farbrengen, said 5 times the Chaim, sat with their Choyers before this old geezer, and listened to his talk, so everything is fine, and now I can go to sleep, and I'm a big chosid, and I was Yaitze already 50% of Gimmel Tammuz, and tomorrow, okay, I'll go to the oil, be Yaitze the other 50%, and finish, God. That's not what it's about. Gimmel Tammuz has to be that now it's going to be with the cheshbon every single day. Together with, just like I have a chiyuv of Moed Ani, I have a chiyuv of Negavas, I have a chiyuv of Bichas HaShachar. If there would be the slightest taichver to Bichas HaShachar, the slightest is bonanus. What am I saying with Bichas HaShachar? Every single action that I do is a Baruch Ato Havaya Lekeinu Melech Ha'olam. I put on clothes, I put my feet on the ground, I walk. It's all it's Baruch Ato Havaya Lekeinu Melech Ha'olam. It's a dear b'tachteinu. Self-understood. If I do it, I put on clothes, I can go down properly. So I look like a Yid. I'm a proud Yid. And I realize that every single pull that I'm doing is something that the Eibush has given me chayes. The all ways of chassidus, and everything's happened. We're not thinking properly. Just in last week's parsha, by Challah. Last week's parsha by Challah, the Medrash says that whoever is Mekayim the mitzvah of Challah is Keilu whoever is not Mekayim mitzvah is Moed B'Avodah Zorah. So the Rebbe is like it's not the usual Lashonis. Moed B'Avodah Zorah, Koifer B'Avodah Zorah, usually Oived Avodah Zorah. What's the new Lashonis? As if there is already an Avodah Zorah Kayemes. Not that I'm creating Avodah Zorah, there's Avodah Zorah. So the Rebbe explains in short that Avodah Zorah Kayemes is Olam Hazeh, Teva, nature. That everybody, the way everything looks and the way everything appears, there's the Eibishter, he runs his world, and he can do miracles and he can do things, but then there's nature and there's and it has its system, so to say, Chas v'sholom. And that is the real Avodah Zarah, V'elam Hazeh. That's the real Avodah Zarah, V'elam Hazeh. To look at the world as a Metzias B'fnei Atzmo, and not that everything is run by the That's what the Rebbe explains over there. So when somebody gives challah, so he shows that even something which is natural is only run by the Eibishter, and that you have to do it connected with the mitzvahs of the Eibishter. So you're annulling this Avodah Zorah of Olam Hazeh and that's the biggest Avodah Zorah that's kind. Nobody made it. It looks that way. That's how you're born. It's a beautiful sikha over there. Now I have a simple question at Klotz Kasha. Why is this dafka by Challah? Why isn't this true by Ma'aseh Rishon, Ma'aseh Sheni, Truma, Bikurim, all the other mitzvahs? Why dafka by Chabad? Why not by all the... And the Klotz Kasha has a Klotz answer. Simple answer. When it comes to Meiser, Bikurim, etc., over there is a part, an ingredient, which is not dependent on me at all. It's out of my control. I have to put the seed in the ground, and it's out of my control. I plant a tree, it's out of my control. Yeah, I planted the tree, but what happens with the seed, what happens with all these things, that's not... So then there is, if nature, that's one level. But then there is a deeper level. By Chale, I bought the flour in the store, I bought the eggs in the store, I bought the salt and pepper in the store, whatever else I put, whatever else the ingredients, I'm not clear what the ingredients are, whatever else I needed the dough, I put the dough in the oven, I lit the oven, I made the fire, everything was in my control. So we're not only dealing with nature as nature, that the scientist kfira, the scientist apikosis. That's the scientist apikosis. That they look at nature, there's one Islam, they call it Mother Nature, so Torah negates that. No, nature is not the Eibishter. And everybody that has a little bit common sense understands there's so many things that are happening in the world, and even though it's nature, it's run by the Eibishter. The Eibishter is the control of everything. And the world doesn't control itself. But when it comes to the ultimate Avodah Zorah, the klipe kosher Avodah Zorah, my mind, my feeling, my actions, does that have to do with the Eibishter? Or is me that doing? Now, was it literally everything from A to Z was done exactly the way my mind told me, my heart told me, my natural abilities controlled it. So that's me. That's already also an Avodah Zorah. Because that's what Birchas HaShachar is all about. Even if you put on clothes, even if you put on a hat, even if you put on shoes, even if you're able to sit up and put your feet on the ground, everything is Baruch Ato Havaya Elokeinu Melech Olam. We do nothing. What do we do? The Eibusher doesn't want us to be robots, so he gave us Bechira Chofshis. And I have free choice. They want to be a Mekova Lelekus, they want to be a Mekova Teklipa. Do I want to utilize these capabilities that the Eibusher is giving me, and the Eibusher is Mechayim, and the Eibusher is literally controlling them? Do I want to utilize this to be a Mekova Teklusha? To go in the way that the Torah tells me, to go in the way that the Rebbe told me and taught me and directs me, or do I want to, right now on a rest, right now on Torah, we're telling right now on the phone, right now this, right now that. It's the same Chochmah. Even Chochmah, the Klippa, is also there, because the Eibusher wants Chiyuv Chofshis, so he gives that also. Even when I'm doing Aveir, B'shas Aveir, Elokim Amar Kalel. Except you have Chiyuv Chofshis. So yes, the Eibusher gave me a Chochmah, the Eibusher gave me a Regesh, the Eibusher gave me an ability, the Eibusher gave me Koiches, and the Eibusher is giving me these Koiches, and the Eibusher is giving me these abilities. That's Birchas HaShachar. The Eibusher is doing everything, even the simplest, the socks that I put on, the pants that I put on, the underpants that I put on. That's all working with the Eibusher. But I have Bechira Chofshis that I want to put on underpants which are colored like a woman's underpants, or do I want to put on underpants that have a tznius to it? I have Bechira Chofshis in what I'm doing. A Merkava L'Gdusha, a Merkava T'Klipa. That's what it's about. And this Chala teaches. Chala teaches that even something that looks 100% my action, and understandable actions, even that is run by the Eibusher. No doubt being Afish Chala. I had the free choice. Whether I wanted to use all these abilities, I can put on clothing like this, I can put on clothing like this. All coming from the Eibusher, the same thing. I can look over here, I can look over there. It's all coming from David. Same koiches. I have the Bechira Chofshis, whether this ability that David should give me should be a Mekabel Kedusha or a Mekabel Kedusha. And this the Rebbe taught me. And this the Rebbe teaches us. And this the Rebbe gave us the way and the mahalach of how we can strengthen ourselves to constantly be a Mekabel Kedusha and make a dear b'tachteinu, to make it my yonis, and to spread it out. Okay, I have nothing else to say. Let me move on. L'chaim. Zayt Matzliach. We should be zeichet to be emes and mikushorim. The Rebbe should have emes and nachasruach from each one of us. No, amen. No, what's it? Wasted my whole night. What?
Take two, say it again.
What?
The bracha. Do it again.
What are you talking about? There's Kumpfenheits. Just to do it because I got to do it is garnish.
We answer in our hearts also.
What?
Answer in our hearts.
I said it. I expressed it.
Answer in our hearts.
In your hearts. That's Dvarim Shebelev Einam Dvarim. It has to be a koponim dibur. It has to come out into the oilam. It has to come out into the world. It has to come out into the dir v'tachtenim. That's what it's all about, no?